What's going on, YouTube? Today I'm going to be showing you guys how to repair a tire. Now this is my work truck tire, and of course, well, I jacked up the truck. I took off the wheel. I went ahead and sprayed it down with some soap and water. Now when you guys get a flat, you guys want to make sure you check everything, not just the obvious, because I've had cases when there is more than one actual hole in it. So just want to make sure you check the whole tire. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pull out the valve core. Well, actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and mark it. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and mark the hole. So that's right there. And then what I also want to do is get a mark somewhere on the tire and the rim. That way you align it properly. And that's pretty much for the balancing purposes. So we're going to go ahead and mark the rim and the tire to get it aligned properly. You see I just made a couple marks here and there just to get it to where it was before. And I'm going to take off the valve core. So while that's going, as you can see, these tires on small vehicles and some of the trucks, they'll have that groove, and this groove is to unmount and mount tires. So these will be dismounted from what would essentially be the front of the tire. So first thing we're going to do, we're going to break the bead on this side. So I just want to add some lubrication. Then I have my bead brake hammer here, and you want to go as close to the edge as possible, right? But not hitting the rim. And you can go around. You can go around it. That wheel will start loosening. You can see right there it's going down. So we'll come around this side. Alright. And there it is. We're just pushing it down. And right there it's unmounted. And now we'll go ahead and do the front. Same process. Throw some soap right in between that bead. And this side, you're just going to make sure you don't hit it around any of the, if it has weights, you don't want to hit the weights, and you definitely don't want to hit the stem. So we'll go ahead and do this side. Oh. That's what you don't want. Alright, so there it is. Got that going. Now the best thing to do is to start across. If you see my stem is right on this side, you want to start across on this side. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in both bars and drop this down. Just put in both bars. And what's going to happen is that tire is going to find its way into that groove. And if it doesn't, all you got to do is just tap it in there a little bit. So we're going to bring this up. Whichever is easier to take out, you take it out. You find somewhere else to put it in. Start pulling it out. Find somewhere else to put it in. take it out. And then from there, it'll pop out like that. So now what we're going to do is get it out from the other side. It's the same thing. You just want to make sure you're not on that valve stem. So what I like to do is I like to put my bar in, like so, pull it through a little bit, and then we'll just come down with it. And then we'll help it out with the other pry bar. Get that in wherever you can. And we'll try and work it out. And again, make sure that this side of the tire is in the groove. So we'll go ahead and put both of these on there. Make sure it's over the rim. Work it. It's not usually this hard, but sometimes it is, so just have that in mind. Make sure it's in the groove, and we'll keep going at it. In wherever I can. And there she was. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to find that hole where you marked it. See, it's right here. Go and grab my needle nose. So I'm going to go ahead and grab my needle nose pliers and see if I can take out that nail or screw or whatnot. So I'll get it from the inside and pull it in, but I'm going to go ahead and mark it while I see it. Makes it much easier. It's right on this side. Okay, so now I just want to grab it. Yank it out. As you can see, this is part of a nail. Alright, so now that we got that done, I'm going to go ahead and find the hole. I'm going to use my up plug repair kit tool, and I'll go in and I'll work that hole. Just to make sure, you know, it's all nice and clear. Right now I'm going to bring another tool that I use in order to put the patch and plug. So I'll bring you guys back for that. Okay guys, so I went and got my drill. And I have this attachment. which is to, what it'll do is it'll go into the hole and it'll clean out the hole. Any of the wires, because you know the wires that it has inside the tire, either nylon or steel, but the steel ones will give you more trouble. But sometimes they'll be poking out like that, so when you try and put in the plug, it'll cut open or cut into the plug, and it'll compromise that plug. So we're gonna go ahead and clean it out with this tool right here. Now you want to do is just work it. Work it in and around. So, okay, now what we're gonna do is we're gonna buff that area. And for that I have my tire buffer. And more or less what you want is you want to go ahead and clean the area where the patch is going to go. So the way I do it is see how this is more or less the size of this. So I'll try and just make it, you know, that size right there. So I'm going to go ahead and turn on my compressor and I'm going to buff the area, and I'll show you guys that when I'm done. Alright guys, so as you can see, that's what it's gonna look like buffed. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add some I have this, it's like rubber cement. This is it, it's the Extra Seal vulcanizing cement. So you want to make sure it's nice and dry. If not, that glue is not going to hold. So we're going to grab some of the cement and we're just going to rub it around the area. Make sure you're generous with it. Don't be stingy with your rubber cement. And add a little bit more. Okay, now we're just going to wait until that gets tacky to the touch, because if you feel it right now, it's just going to be, you know, it's just watery. So we're going to let it dry for a little bit, and meanwhile I'm going to show you guys my tools that I use. Alright you guys, as for tools, well, you guys know already, if you see my videos, I carry around this carpet. I like to work on this carpet, that way I don't make a mess or damage the concrete or mess around in the dirt or anything. So tools, the core tool, valve core tool. Again, I got my DeWalt drill with that special bit in there for the tires. This is what I'm going to be putting in. These are the Extra Seal combination plugs, I believe. But it's you can ask for their patch and plugs. This is for a 1/4 inch, which goes with this. This is a 1/4 inch. The pry bars that I use are just some cheap, you know, Harbor Freight that I use for small vehicles. These 2 bars right here. Of course, my air chuck and my air gauge, the bead breaking hammer. Again, you want to carry around some pliers or whatnot to take out, you know, whatever's stuck into the tire. Already showed you guys the Extra Seal vulcanizing cement. The buffer. This is a central pneumatic with a tire buffer wheel. These are special for the tires. A marker to mark. And then to put in the tires, I like to use this. I mean, this is just the old some cleaning wipes that I had, the Big Mule wipes. Once I finished them, I put in the swab for the tires, and inside there's water and there's the mounting compound, which is is pretty much just pumpkin soap, I believe. That's pretty handy to have. And then again, soap and water. This is about a 10-to-1 mix of soap and water. That way you'll find bubbles and you could dismount easier with that. Another cool thing I'll show you, when I do the tires on the big wheels, I carry around my 1 inch and my 3/4. So essentially this hose is thicker. So what I have done in order to, minimize what I need, this is the 1/2 inch for the 1 inch gun, and I don't know if it's a 1/2 inch. I'd be lying to you guys if I knew, but I know this goes onto the connection for my 1 inch impact and my 3/4 inch impact. And then again, this is just the standard one for my regular air tools, my jacks and whatnot, is this right here. But this way I minimized having to carry around 2 full lengths of hose. So that way I just carry around 100 feet of that 5/8 hose, I believe, and that'll be done. All right, and now we're back to the patch here. I don't know if you guys can see it, but it feels tacky to the touch. If you feel it, it'll be tacky. So we're ready to go. So I'll put you guys back on the stand over here. Okay, so make sure your hands are clean. Oh, well, obviously I'm wearing gloves, but just make sure they're nice and dry. What we're going to do is we're going to pull off this protective plastic right here, like so. Take that off. Take this off. Now what we're going to do is we're just going to insert it straight into the hole. And make sure it's not on the bottom, because now you're not going to be able to pull it out. Alright. So as you can see, now we have this end sticking right here, sticking out. Well, all we're going to do is grab our pliers, or if you're strong enough you can pull it with your hand. Well, we're just going to pull it out as far as you can. Just make sure you don't rip it. There it is. Now this right here, we're just going to cut it flush as you can. Got this nifty little knife right here. Cut it off as flush as you can. And now we'll get into, you're also going to need this. This is the patch stitcher 3000. So we're going to go ahead and use this to go ahead and stitch that patch in. We're going to start from the middle and work your way out to one side, and then start from the middle, work your way out to one side, to the other side, and then we're going to go ahead and we're going to go lengthways and widthwise, just to make sure it's all nice and flat. We start from the middle, that way we can get all, if there's any air bubbles or excess glue that's on there, we'll go ahead and stretch that out. So let me bring you guys over and show you guys that. Okay, so as you can see, you want to get it as flat as possible. So like I said, we're doing lengthwise, from the middle out, from the middle out, and widthwise, from the middle out, from the middle out. Just put as much pressure as you can into it. Alright, from there, what I like to do is is I'll take off that protective film. It's kind of a pain sometimes. So I'll take off that film, and around that base of that patch, I'll just go ahead and add, just a little bit of glue around there, just to make sure if it wants to lift up or anything, there's some glue there that'll hold it down. All right, guys. So there you go. Now we're gonna do the mounting of the tire on the rim. Alright guys, so mounting is going to be hopefully easier than the dismounting. So what we're going to do is put our rim here. Remember where we got that mark that we made? You just want to make sure that kind of lines up where you're going to put it. So I got to line up more or less the stem with this line over here. Grab some of that soap, and we're going to go ahead and brush it on generously. It's not going to hurt anything on both sides of the beads. Okay, so now what we're going to do is it's more or less lined up right there. What you want to do is just start one end, and you just want to, work it in there. You can use your body weight, use your knees. If you don't have bad knees. So we'll just work it in there, side to side. And make sure this is on the lip that I told you guys earlier. So we'll just work it in there. Okay, there it is. Okay, we're lined up over there. So now we're gonna bring this side down. It'll be the same thing. Now we'll just use the bars to ease it on in there. Little by little, no rush. There it is. Okay, now what I'm going to do is set the bead in. Okay, you guys, so to set the bead, usually what I do, since we have that valve core removed already, you can just get your fitting end right here and stick it in. Voila. It doesn't always work, but when it works, you'll be happy it did. So once you get enough pressure in it, we'll put the core back in. And the core doesn't have to be too tight, just a little bit finger tight. And you're good to go. As you can see, we're lined up over here. Okay, so now last thing we're gonna do is just check the pressure. Now these work tires, I like to have about 50 pounds in them, 50 to 55. So we'll just check it every so often. And if you do tires enough, you'll more or less know when you're around there. Around the pressure that you need. So we're barely at 30. around good right there. So now the last thing you want to do before you put it on is we'll check it. So we'll throw some soap and water around the rim. Make sure the bead is good. We'll throw some around the stem and the core. Make sure it's not bubbling. And we'll do the same thing on the other side. Alright, so everything shakes out. I'm going to go ahead and slap this on there, and that's how I do tires. You've seen the tools that I use. If you want to get into it, you know, it's not that hard, but there's nothing to it but to do it. Guys, remember to stay safe out there. Any questions, comments, or concerns, let me know. I'll try and get to you as soon as I can. Have a good day. Peace.